Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tigers Den, 4-Star Sports Media. It's your boy, Wes Pruitt. Hope everyone is doing well this Wednesday evening. I apologize for the little technical faux pas that just happened with the live we were just trying to do, but you are now sitting down at the Tigers Den. It's Wednesday night. We talk Memphis Tigers around here on 4-Star Sports Media, and we got another jam-packed show for you tonight. So tonight we're going to start with a little Tigers trivia. As always, get into a little volleyball as they start play. They were just picked ninth in the AAC preseason coaches poll. Then we'll get into a little Memphis women's soccer as the Lady Tigers continue to win again, as they won recently over another SEC foe. Then after that, we'll get into men's soccer, as they have not won, as they've now dropped two in a row back to back. We'll get into what's going on with men's soccer, and then we'll close out with Tiger football, as Memphis football is here. The 2024 season is upon us, and North Alabama is opponent number one. We'll get into North Alabama. Who is North Alabama? Who's their coach? Where did he come from? What's their roster look like this year? What have they looked like this year? Because they've already played once this season. All that and more tonight, right here on the Tigers Den on the 4-Star Sports Media Network. Let's listen to a little bit of some blues before we jump into it. All right, folks, so it's time for a little Tigers trivia. I'll hit the banner, that way you know what it is. I'll hit the jingle so you know it's the song. And here we go. So, question is real simple. What is the Memphis football record when losing the coin toss under head coach Ryan Silverfield overall? And then also, what is it in the 2023 season? Feel free to chime in over in the comment section. You can do that on Facebook and or YouTube. If you're watching on either one of those, we have not integrated X as of yet. But Tigers trivia, let's go into the jingle, folks. If you know it, shout it out. Let us know. We will give the answer at the end of the show, as always, and that always kicks the show off for us here at 4-Star Sports Media. So let's go ahead and get into the show as we start with volleyball. As the University of Memphis volleyball program was picked ninth in the American Athletic Conference preseason conference poll. It was announced on Monday. Memphis, who finished the season 11-20 overall and 7-12 in American Athletic Conference play, was picked up. They did pick up notable wins over South Florida and North Texas, while taking Wichita State to 5 sets. The Tigers will go on to win their final 3 matches of the season, including 2 3-0 sweeps over Temple and North Texas. Along with a plethora of returners from last season, Memphis is led by seniors Tabitha Tolke, Hannah Jones, Clara Bednarik, Mackenzie Leach, Jasmine Tate, heading into the 2024 season. The Tigers kick off the 2024 season this Friday in the Cary Yurdy Classic. Memphis will take on Mississippi Valley State at 1 p.m. and Tennessee Tech at 7 p.m. inside the Larry Finch Center. Both matches will be streamed on ESPN+. So volleyball spikes into action, digs into action, however you want to word it. Very exciting season, and hopefully a more successful season as this program continues to grow on campus at the University of Memphis. This is a very exciting team to go watch. They're high. I mean, that's a high energy sport to watch in general. But this Memphis volleyball program is fun to watch for sure. All right, let's get into Memphis women's soccer as they continue to win and continue to rack up the awards. As we would see on Monday, senior goalkeeper Kaylee Bierman would win the American Athletic Conference Second Goalkeeper of the Week award, while freshman midfielder Ali Kitagara would collect her second straight AAC Freshman of the Week honors, as the conference would announce on Monday. The accolades come on the back of the number 10 Tigers with a 2-1 victory over Ole Miss on Sunday evening, which now pumps their record to 3-0. Speaking of Bierman, she was instrumental in knocking out the Rebels' attack on Sunday in Oxford. She collected 2 official saves and diving to collect several loose balls. The only Rebel goal, the first allowed on her season in 225 minutes, came on a penalty kick by the Rebels. Kilagara would continue her sensational start to her Tigers career, scoring the Tigers 2 goals to tally up to now her 3 on the season. She's the fastest player to reach 3 career goals in Brooks Monaghan era. I'll say that again, folks. She is the fastest player to reach 3 goals in the Brooks Monaghan era. That's 2000 to now. That's 24 seasons. It's the second award for both Bierman and Kilagawa in their respective careers. Bierman was named Goalkeeper of the Week in August 2023, and Kilagara makes it 2 Freshman of the Week awards in as many weeks. Memphis is back in action on Sunday, September 1st, as they host Iowa State at 8 p.m., the second game of a doubleheader at the Track and Soccer Stadium. Big time stuff. Doubleheader there as you get Memphis women's and Memphis a little bit fell to Lipscomb in the opening game 2-1, and they would follow that up with another loss to Evansville 3-0 at Billy J. Murphy Track and Soccer Complex on Senior Day. Despite outshooting the Purple Aces 14-8, the Tigers could never find the back of the net. Evansville did not take long to get in the scoring column as Nacho Diaz Caneja would put the ball in the back of the net in the top right corner just 6 minutes 36 seconds into the match. Memphis would have its first real look in the 31st minute when Jose Maria Ojeda split 3 defenders, and made a run into the box. But the Purple Aces blocked his shot attempt from 3 yards out. Diaz Barragan would finish off with a 12-yard just missile from the center of the box to make it 3-0 Aces to really put the game away. Memphis got off a flurry of shots late in the match, but Tigers really, when you look at it on a stat basis, you look at corners, Tigers had more corners, 8-1. They also put 6 of their 14 shots on target. But this Memphis team's got to get better, and they got to get better pretty quick because they play tomorrow night against Northern Illinois before wrapping up a homestand on Sunday with Central Arkansas. When you look at Northern Illinois and Memphis, they opened up the season with split results last weekend. Northern Illinois opened up the results with split results last weekend, falling 1-0 to St. Thomas in Minnesota on Thursday before taking down Chicago State 4-2 at home. The Tigers and Huskies met last season for the first time ever, and Memphis would win that game 3-1 on the road. When you look at the Central Arkansas Lions, the Lions also went 1-1 to open the year. They shut out Evangel out of Missouri 3-0 at home before falling 3-2 on the road at number 15 Wake Forest. The Tigers Memphis is 14-4-1 all time against UCA, and they have met 17 out of the last 18 seasons, with 2020 being the only exception. The Tigers have won 2 straight in the series, including a 2-1 win in Conway last season and a 6-4 victory in 2022. So big time stuff right there. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into all things football as we dive into more Memphis Tigers. It's going to be jam-packed, a lot of fun. We'll be right back right here on the 4-Star Sports Media Network. All right, folks, as you see there on the screen, it says the 4-Star Sports Media and the Tigers Den present the 2024 Memphis football preview. And here it is, folks. We are to game week. Game week is here. The Tigers play Saturday. Big time season for Memphis. They had a 10-win season last year, 10-3, coming off what was their, fifth 10-win season of all time. And then now they start 2024 on Saturday against the North Alabama Lions. So it's time for us to find out who are the North Alabama Lions. What do they do? Who are they? How have they played this year? What's some records? So we look at them as a overall all-time record. The Lions are 483, 307, and 16. And I mean, you may be asking, Wes, why are you giving me this the all-time record? It's just information about the team that I feel like is tangible in this situation. When you look at them last season, they were 3-8 on the year, 1-5 in conference play. They are in the UAC, as a matter of fact. Like I said, 3-8 last year. When you look at their head coach, Brent Dearman, he played. He was graduated from Bethel in 2008. He is 13-10, and he's now his third head coaching season. He's had spent 2 seasons at North Alabama. When you look at this roster and you look at this team, essentially everyone is back from North Alabama. Yes, I understand. I just said they went 3-9 last year. I get that, right? Or 3-8 last year. I understand that, right? Okay, but 44 returning lettermen for this team. They did lose 31 offensive lettermen. They have 22 returning on the defense. They have 21 returning on the special teams, and they have 61 newcomers to this roster. You heard me correctly, folks. North Alabama has 61 newcomers to their roster. One thing that's very rare about this team is they have a lot of players back. In addition to that, they also have a lot of coaches back. It's a rare distinction of retaining almost every coach from last season. And the only departure was quarterbacks coach Jake Bentley and offensive analyst Wesley White. Outside of that, Coach Dearman returned 11 of the 13 assistants from last season, including both coordinators and every position coach minus the quarterback coach. Dearman assumed the quarterback's position himself this offseason and leads the group in 2024. Last time out for this North Alabama team, what did they do? Well, they took on Southeast Missouri last weekend in a game that really just kind of got away late. North Alabama would fall 37-15, but they had a 15-13 lead at halftime, and at one point led 15-7 in the second quarter. Southeast Missouri would go on to score 30 unanswered points to put the game away in the final 5 minutes. The Lions did have a 100-yard rushing game from Javion Juice Allen, who became the 7th 100-yard rusher in FCS football history and the first UNA 100-yard rusher in a season opener since Terrence Humphrey did it back in 2019. Gregory Reddick would lead the team, have a game-high 12 tackles, and the second leading tackler in all of FCS following week 0 6 games were played last week in that division. True freshman Jalen Fletcher would make his debut in the second half as he totaled 55 all-purpose yards on 4 carries. When you look at the Lions versus the Tigers, as we know, they played 2 years ago. Memphis would win the game 59-0. That was the game that they retired Danton Bartow's jersey. It's the second time these two teams will meet. This is also the second straight week that UNA has faced an opponent for the second time ever. In addition, Memphis will mark UNA's 5th straight opponent that's either been ranked or receiving votes in a national poll. So very, very interesting there. When you look at UNA versus schools from Tennessee, they're frequent opponents against the state of Tennessee. This will be the 117th game between North Alabama and a school from the state of Tennessee. Memphis is one of 14 opponents that UNA has faced all time. UNA has had more Tennessee opponents on the schedule than any other state in each of the last 3 seasons. This includes 4 in 2022, 4 in 2023, and 3 in 2024. This season, UNA will take on Austin Peay, Memphis, and UT Martin. So very, very interesting, man. Very, very interesting stuff. When you look at UNA, they are 0-17 all time against ranked Division I opponents. However, they did knock off Chattanooga last year. But when you look at this roster, like I said, a lot of guys are back. One of those guys is Takari Kennebrew, who's entering his 7th season at UNA, joining the team in 2018 after a redshirt season, an injury redshirt season, and a COVID waiver for 2020. He finally burned his first year of eligibility in 2021. Very, very cool. So in the locker room against Florida State last year, Killebrew would announce to his teammates he planned to return for 2024 and start as a 7th-year senior. After clearance from compliance in January, Kennebrew took to social media with help from the media relations team and announced that he would be returning for a 7th year to the public. TK, as he's known on the roster, has 98 career receptions in the 2024 season and currently holds 2 all-time school records. That's season touchdowns and career touchdowns, and 5 Division I era school records. He is the only. This is a pretty cool little stat on this guy. He's a very talented wide receiver. He's the only current UNA player born before 2000. That's cool. This young man's really, really good. He can play. A lot of people don't know anything about this team. When you go look at this team, the quarterback can play. He's got some intangibles. He's got some things about him that can really, really drive a defensive coordinator crazy. He's got some intangibles about him, especially with his dual threat capabilities. He can cause some issues for sure. Definitely cause some issues. And we talked about it. Kennebrew. I mean, he's getting ready to break. He broke the school record, then redshirt senior, tied the all-time record for reception touchdowns at UNA on senior day against Central Arkansas with 2 catches. He went on to break the record against Florida State last year. And if you don't remember, UNA, North Alabama, was the team that took out the game that Jordan Travis got hurt, and I believe they were leading at halftime down in Tallahassee. So, obviously, the question is, do I think Memphis will win? I do think Memphis will win, and I've got 5 keys to a Tiger win. I think the very first key is you've got to score fast, and you've got to score often. I back that up by saying this. When Memphis has scored first in a game, they're 17-7 under Ryan Silverfield. Last season in 2023, when Memphis scored first, they were 8-0 on the season. When you look at Memphis and they score more than 20 points a game, and by the way, they hold the record right now for most games with 21 or more points. And Memphis is 30-16 under Ryan Silverfield when that happened. 30-16. So when you look at this Memphis team, they got to score. They got to score fast, right? There's really no other question about it. But you've got to also let Seth be Seth. Let Seth continue to be the guy that's got us here in a sense. He's the only 4-year quarterback in starting quarterback in the country to do it for the same school every year. He's the only quarterback in FBS to do that. So when you look at Seth Hennigan, you got to let him be him. There's weapons around him. We know about Mario Anderson. We know about Rock Taylor. We know about Demir Blakumsey. We know about Anthony Lamphere. Let him be him. Let him just facilitate the ball around the field to these weapons. And you talked about, we just talked about it. Mario Anderson, Sutton Smith, you got to run the football. Establish that running game now in a game against North Alabama. I'd love to have Mario Anderson have over 100 yards in this game. I'd love to have Sutton Smith have over 100 yards in this game. I'd love to have other guys come in, Brandon Thomas come in, have another over 100-yard game. I'd love for Memphis to run for over 300 yards against these guys. Do I think it can happen? I don't know. I think there's capability. But you got to run the football. Establish the run. Everybody, yes, I understand Seth Hennigan. I get it. I know the kid's talented. But you've got to run the football, and you've got to establish a run now. You've got to get your offensive line in the habit of moving guys out of the way, mowing the grass, basically. But establish a run game if you're Memphis in week 1 to where everybody the rest of the season knows you have to respect it, because you don't bring in Mario Anderson Jr. to let Seth Hennigan just throw the ball around the yard. You've got to establish the run and let these guys get some yards under them. You looked at last year, Blake Watson had over 1,000 yards. I've been saying it for months now, both on show and in article form. I think Memphis has 2,000-yard rushers this year. I think you could very easily see Mario Anderson and Sutton Smith both be 1,000-yard rushers, as well as Rock Taylor, Demir Blakumsey, and I've said it on numerous ways there too, to have 2,000-yard receivers as well. That's the kind of potent offense I think this team's got. But on the flip side of that, if you're Memphis defensively, I just talked about the quarterback from North Alabama. He's got some intangibles about him that could cause fits if you're in the wrong position. If your eyes are moving one way and you miss, he can burn you. He can make you make mistakes. If you make mistakes on this kid, he's gonna beat you. I'm telling you, he will leave you. He can play. He can throw the football. He can run. I understand it's North Alabama. I'm just telling you, the young man's got intangibles about him. The North Alabama quarterback has intangibles about him that can cause fits. So if you're Memphis defensively, you've got to control the trenches, number one, offensively and defensively. That's where this game starts and stops. You've got to control the trenches defensively for sure, but you've got to contain this quarterback. Once you do that, you contain this quarterback, I think you control the game. Once you control the game, then you allow your defense to start taking advantages of missed opportunities by the North Alabama offense, fumbles, bad throws, tip passes, things of that nature. That's where this game gets out of hand. It's not necessarily, the offense is just going to put up all these points. I think that you can't forget about this defense. I think this defense is loaded. Jordan Hankins, we've been talking about it for months now. Jordan Hankins, incredible job with the Memphis linebackers previously, before now becoming the defensive coordinator. I'm really, really interested to see what he can do with this, number one, really talented linebacking crew. But then you turn around and you go pull everybody else. I mean, you've got a talented secondary. Greg Rubin's back there playing the Tiger position. Very, very, very excited to watch Greg Rubin play ball back there. I like Greg a lot. He has been what the Memphis football program has needed, and that is a loyal ball player back there. This team, you've got to make stops. If you're the Memphis defense, you've got to make stops, make it happen. If you can make those stops, if you can make everything, control the game. If you can do that, I think you can win. When you look at the depth chart for Memphis, you got Seth Hennigan at quarterback. Harris Boyd is the backup. Sutton Smith or Mario Anderson at running back. Brock Taylor's the number one. Demir Blakumsey or Jacoby Blanks Jet Banks is the number 2. Kobe Drake is in the slot. Anthony Lamphere, aforementioned, is in the tight end position. When you look at the offensive line, I think it's going to be a real strong suit for the University of Memphis this year. Left tackle Chris Adams, young man out of Old Dominion, redshirt junior. We've talked about him a lot. Another guy that I'm really interested to watch at the left tackle position is Jalen Nichols, his graduate, 6'5", 318 out of South Carolina. You bring him over, very, very, very talented kid. And then even in the wings, you've got Parker Peterson out of Alpharetta, Georgia, 6'7", 280 redshirt freshman. But at the left guard, you got Xavier Hill, big guy out of LSU. I think he ends up in Mobile as well with Seth Hennigan, with Rock Taylor. I think Mario Anderson is another guy that could end up in Mobile by the end of the season as well. Center, you got Trent Holler out of Marshall. We've talked about that. He also played at East Carolina as well. Then you bring in Jonah Gamble, obviously big anchor on that offensive line, the right guard, 6'3", 305 redshirt senior out of Cartersville, Georgia. Backed up behind him, you've got Kendall McKenzie, Little Rock, Arkansas, out of Parkview, 6'2", 310 redshirt sophomore. Then right tackle, you've got big Kendra Lewis out of San Jose State, 6'5", 320 senior, big monster right there at the offensive line to round out that line. I think when you look at the offensive line for Memphis, it's key. Like I said, that's one of my keys to victory is win the trenches. Control the trenches. You control the trenches, you control the game if you're Memphis, not just today, but 2024 in general. When you look at the defensive side of things, this is where I'm very, very excited. Javon Dennis, 5'11", 276, graduate out of Deerfield Beach, Florida, but he played at Georgia State. He comes over to Memphis now. Patrick Lucas, big-time player right here. This guy's going to be, if you're a Memphis fan and you want to watch somebody, keep your eye on this guy. Number 50, 6'2", 320, redshirt senior from Ole Miss, also played at Indiana as well. Then you got, on the other end, you've got big William Whitlow Jr., from Millbrook, Alabama, 6'2", redshirt junior, or Cromartie Hamilton, of course, the young man out of Whitehaven High School there locally, but went to Ohio State and transferred in. When you look at the Sam linebacker of this team, and you look at who it is, I mean, it's none other than Elijah Herring, the leading tackler from Tennessee last year, comes over. He's from Riverdale High School in Tennessee, originally from Newman, Georgia, 6'2", 230 junior from Tennessee. When you look at the Mike linebacker, it's already solidified. Number 11, Chandler Martin, 6 foot, 230 pounds, redshirt junior out of Lithonia, Georgia, and he played for East Tennessee, obviously, before coming over to Memphis. Another guy that I'm really interested in watching and looking forward to is a local kid out of Carville, Tennessee, Donovan Mathena, 5'11", 230 redshirt sophomore out of Carville High School. Going to be a lot of fun to watch him and how he can mature and grow at that Mike linebacker position, as well as Carmelo Overton, number 17, 6 foot, 221 redshirt freshman out of Ozark, Alabama. That's the other thing with this team. A lot of youth on this defensive side of the football. When you look at the will position or the weak side linebacker, Matt Hudson out of Harvard, incredible tackler, sound tackler, 6'2", 235. But the other guy, it says Brett Carew out of Oklahoma Baptist. We talked to some coaches in the Great American Conference yesterday during their media day, and we talked about this exact situation where a player leaves a team like Oklahoma Baptist, for example, comes over to Memphis. It's very, very common. When you look at the cornerback position, Davion Ross, 5'10", fifth-year senior out of Eastern Kentucky, comes over, and Julian Barnett, fifth-year player. Love his story. He came from Michigan State and never left at all. And then it's got Tyron Taylor, number 3, 6'2", 185 from Colorado. The other cornerback, you got Kobe Minor, definite player to be very excited about. Played at Indiana, also played at Texas Tech. 5'11", 188 senior. Very, very exciting stuff. And then you got Andarius Coffey at one safety out of Winona High School, redshirt senior out of Winona, Mississippi. And the other side, like I said, you've got Greg Rubin from White Station High School. A lot of fun to watch. And then you look at it on the special team side of things. You've got Caden Costa out of Ole Miss as the field goal kicker. You've got Joshua Sloan, who came over from UTEP, is currently listed as the starting punter for this team. We look at punt returners, we look at kickoff return specialists. This is where I think Memphis makes a major jump and makes a lot of noise coming up in 2024. That is the kickoff return and the special team return. Obviously, you've got Sutton Smith back there, a just dynamic football player, 5'9", 190 junior out of Powder Springs, Georgia. George Walton High School. And then behind him, you got a young man that his name gets me. Greg D. Roziers, 5'11", 200-pound redshirt junior, speedy young man. Guy can flat get it. Played at Louisville, also played at UMass, out of Lawrence, Mass. But young man can really play. Greg Jr. is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Punt return wise, you got Kobe Drake out of Whitehall, Arkansas, redshirt senior from the Natural State, followed by Sutton Smith and Jacoby Banks, wide receiver that is out of Houston, Texas. He's a sophomore, by the way, folks. Let's not forget that. When you look at Jacoby, he's only a sophomore. This kid's has the potential to be in Memphis for a few more years. So, obviously, I said earlier, I think Memphis gets the win in this game. My score prediction in this game is Memphis 56, North Alabama 10. I don't think the Tiger defense gives up a touchdown late in the game, late in the fourth quarter. By that point in time, I think the game is within hand. I think you see backups play by third quarter. I think you see Harris Boyd come in at quarterback. I'm really excited about watching him, seeing what he can do, as well as other quarterbacks too. You got Addington that's back there as well. Talented young man out of the state of Texas. But when you look at the running back room, I mean, obviously it's loaded. They've only got 2 listed on their depth chart for this week. But that's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said earlier, my keys to a Tiger win: run the football, get it established now, get it established early, and don't get away from it. Don't get away from it. I think that's a strong suit for this Memphis team for sure. But, yeah, that's my prediction. Memphis 56, North Alabama 10, coming up this Saturday for the Memphis opening of the 2024 season. We appreciate everybody watching and listening tonight. As always, if you have any questions, reach out to us. You can reach out to us through any of our social media. We have all of our messages are open. And speaking of messages, let's go ahead and give you a little jingle because we got a Tiger trivia question to answer. Let me get back up on the screen here. There it is, right there. Let's hit the jingle and let's see if you can figure out what that answer is. All right, so the jingle is, I love that jingle. It's such a good jingle. All right, let me kick it down just a little bit more. All right, there we go. All right, so let's get the Tigers trivia answer. The question is, what is the Memphis football record when losing the coin toss under Ryan Silverfield overall and also in 2023? The correct answer is 13-9 overall and 6-1 in 2023 when losing the coin toss. Folks, you can gamble on numerous things nowadays, and this is one of the things you can gamble on is the coin toss. So that is the answer tonight for your Tigers trivia answer. We appreciate everybody watching and listening as always. It's been a really fun show. A lot going on. A lot going on around campus at the University of Memphis. You've got Memphis basketball just announced that Ohio will be their final non-conference game Penny Hardaway has perhaps built what could be the best non-conference schedule in the history of Memphis basketball. We'll get into that coming up in the next couple of weeks. Um, but fun show tonight. Fun show tonight. Appreciate everybody watching and listening as always. Man, big time stuff, man. Support your local Memphis athletes. If you're in Memphis, support the campus, guys. It's not just about football. It's not just about Memphis basketball. It's let's get out and support this entire campus. I've been saying it for a reason now. I've been saying it for a few weeks now. There's reason for support around this campus. You look at the new softball coach. She's doing incredible things with that program. You look at Coach Sims over at Memphis basketball, Memphis women's basketball. She's doing incredible things. Campus coverage, guys. That's what we bring you here on the Tigers Den on Wednesday nights. But for myself, Wes Pruitt, and all of us here at 4 Star Sports Media, we appreciate everybody watching and listening. And as always, guys, go Tigers.